27. He is 27 and already a millionaire. I am still trying to figure out what I want for dinner. I think I missed my window. Like, somewhere between the gaming and the scrolling, my chance just quietly left the building without even saying goodbye.
Interesting. And how old are you exactly?
That is not the point.
It is entirely the point. But go on. Tell me more about how your life is already over.
You know what I mean. Everyone seems to have it figured out. Everyone is building something, achieving something, becoming something, and I am just here.
And what if I told you that the people who succeed late in life are not the ones who missed the window? They are the ones who were quietly being built for something the early achievers were never designed to handle. Today, we look at the hidden psychology of late bloomers, why some of the most remarkable people in history did not peak at 25, and what is actually happening inside the minds of people who succeed later than everyone expected. Stay until the end, because the last thing I'm going to say will completely change how you see your timeline.
Okay, I'm listening.
Act 1, the myth of the right age. Who invented your deadline? Here is a question nobody asks. Who decided that 30 is the deadline? Who decided that if you have not built something significant by your mid-20s, you are behind? The answer is not psychologists. It is not neuroscientists. It is a combination of industrial-era education systems, social media comparison culture, and a handful of extraordinarily rare prodigies whose stories got turned into the default expectation for everyone else.
Okay, but there is definitely a biological thing, right? Your brain is sharper when you're young?
Partially true. Fluid intelligence, raw processing speed, pattern recognition, does peak in your 20s. But crystallized intelligence, the ability to connect complex ideas, read people accurately, make wise decisions under pressure, draw on deep experience, that keeps growing well into your 50s and 60s. The jobs that change the world are almost never won by raw processing speed. They are won by judgment, and judgment takes time.
So the brain is not done at 25.
The prefrontal cortex, the part responsible for long-term planning, impulse control, and understanding consequences, is not fully developed until around age 25 to 28, which means that many so-called early achievers built their entire identity and career before their brain was literally finished. And Act 2 shows exactly why that is a much bigger problem than it sounds. Act 2, the hidden cost of early success. Why fast is not always forward. Early success is seductive, but it carries a hidden psychological cost that very few people talk about. When you succeed early, your identity crystallizes around that success before you have had enough life experience to know who you actually are. You become the young lawyer, the early founder, the prodigy, and then one day, the market shifts, the startup fails, the sport ends, and there is nothing underneath because you built the house before you laid the foundation.
That actually sounds terrifying. Like winning too fast and then having nothing left to win?
Psychologists call it identity foreclosure. You commit to an identity so early that you never go through the necessary process of questioning, exploring, and genuinely choosing who you want to be. Studies on elite athletes, child prodigies, and young executives consistently show elevated rates of anxiety, depression, and identity crisis in their 30s and 40s, precisely because the external achievements arrived before the internal architecture was ready to support them.
So being a late bloomer might actually be protective?
More than protective, it might be the exact preparation you needed, because the years that look like wasted time from the outside are often the years where late bloomers are doing something the early achievers skipped entirely, and Act 3 shows exactly what that is. Act 3. Why late bloomers are built different. The psychology nobody sees. Research on late bloomers, from psychologist Rich Karlgaard to studies on Nobel Prize winners and breakthrough artists, reveals a consistent pattern. Late bloomers are rarely people who were doing nothing. They were doing something that looked like nothing. They were accumulating what psychologists call diversified experience, moving across fields, roles, and failures in a way that builds an unusually broad and flexible mental map of the world.
Okay, but that sounds like a very generous way of saying they were just confused for a long time.
It sounds like that, but here is what the research actually shows. People who succeed later in life consistently demonstrate 3 traits that are almost impossible to develop quickly. Trait 1, deep pattern recognition. Because they have failed in multiple domains, they can see connections between ideas that specialists cannot. They are not the deepest expert in one room. They are the only person who has been in all the rooms. Trait 2, psychological resilience. Every setback that did not destroy them recalibrated their relationship with failure. They are not afraid of it anymore. They have survived it too many times for it to feel fatal.
What is trait 3?
Authentic motivation. Early achievers often succeed because of external pressure. Parental expectation, social comparison, fear of being left behind. Late bloomers, because they have had longer to fail and longer to reflect, are far more likely to be doing the thing they actually want to do, not the thing that looked impressive at 22. And that difference in motivation is the single most powerful predictor of sustained long-term success that psychology has ever identified.
So the detours were not detours? They were the actual road.
Exactly. And Act 4 shows how to start walking it, deliberately and without waiting for permission.
Act 4. What late bloomers actually do differently. The patterns that change everything. Late bloomers who actually break through share 4 psychological behaviors that separate them from the people who stay stuck. The first is what researchers call productive reframing. They do not look at their timeline and see failure. They look at it and ask, what did I learn that someone who went straight could not have learned? Every job that did not work out, every relationship that ended, every direction that turned out to be wrong, they treat as data, not damage.
Okay, I can try that. What is the second one?
Radical curiosity over performance. Early achievers optimize. Late bloomers explore. Instead of asking, how do I get better at this? They ask, what is this actually connected to? They follow threads that seem irrelevant. They read outside their field. They talk to people who have nothing to do with their goals. And those seemingly useless connections become the unexpected insight that changes everything.
That sounds like what I do when I go down a Wikipedia rabbit hole at 2 in the morning.
Precisely like that. Except you close the tab and feel guilty about it instead of writing down what you found. The third behavior is delayed identity commitment. Instead of locking in a fixed self-concept early, late bloomers stay genuinely open to becoming someone they have not imagined yet. They hold their identity loosely. They are willing to be surprised by themselves. That sounds uncomfortable, and it is, but it is also how transformation happens.
And the fourth?
The fourth is the one most people underestimate. They find one person who sees them accurately. Not someone who hypes them up, not someone who tears them down. Someone who can see both where they are now and what they are actually capable of. A mentor, a teacher, a partner who refuses to let them settle. Almost every documented late bloomer, when you trace their story back, had one relationship that functioned as a mirror. Someone who said, I see what you were doing, and I see what you were avoiding. Both matter.
That sounds like you.
Do not make it weird, Hoodie. But yes, essentially yes.
So all this time, I thought I was falling behind, but maybe I was just taking the longer road?
The longer road is not the wrong road. It is just the one that requires more trust. Trust that what you are building inside is real, even when nothing on the outside shows it yet.
That is either very wise or a very elegant way of telling me to be patient.
It is both. So, tell us, do you see yourself as a late bloomer? And if so, what is the one experience you once called a failure that might actually have been preparation? Write it in the comments. You might be surprised what you find when you look at your detours as data. See you in the next deep dive.